Winter metal.
So, during this recent cold snap, in which my city of Edmonton got colder than it has ever been in my lifetime, and I am not joking about that, it got me thinking, what is some of your favorite winter metal? You know, the metal could be overtly winter themed, or it could just be that the sonic landscape presented reminds you of a chilly winter forest. Maybe the music reminds you of a barren, snowdrift-sown landscape in which the only sound that you hear on that cold winter's night is the howling wind. Or perhaps it is stories about Norse gods and Vikings sailing the North Sea. What about the chilling sound of some black metal, which reminds you of the 24 hours of darkness in the northern climates? Or perhaps you need some epic power metal to keep you warm during these months. Maybe some breakdowns to keep your sanity during the months where everyone is lacking vitamin D. Or maybe the opposite is true, and you need something warm to take you away from everything else. Either way, I have noticed over the years that the seasons directly influence the music that I am listening to currently. And so I'm wondering, does it do the same for you guys? Does the seasons affect you? You know, I'm very curious about this, so leave your comments down below. I would love to hear what you guys love to listen to in the winter. And I'll give you a few of my picks. But before we get into that, please leave a sub. You know, we're having a good time here. Let's keep warm. Come join the party. Leave a like. It helps the algorithm. But, you know, enough of that. Let's get on with it. For me personally, the band that I always come back to every single winter, and I played them earlier in this video as well, is Winter Sun. They are my go-to winter music, not only because of the lyrical themes, the music just screams winter landscape to me. Whenever I go skiing, I almost always start the day listening to some Winter Sun, especially the Forest Seasons album. You know, it's just a great album and sets a great atmosphere for enjoying the beautiful mountain air and enjoying some nice ski runs. I absolutely love how the album progresses the classic Winter Sun sound, and adds a little tinge of black metal to it as well. Winter Sun just has it all, one of my favorite bands for sure. You know, I'll try to stay away from Melodeath for the rest of this video, otherwise this video would just be all Melodeath bands essentially, that's just my winter music. But I'll just leave a few honorable mentions here. One would be Storm of the Lightsbane by Dissection. The Black Waltz by Kalma. Mira Madness by Norther. Another album and band that I really enjoy in the winter is Seventh Wonder's Mercy Falls. In short, this album is about a man who gets into a car accident after receiving some terrible news, and it deals with how his family is dealing with it. It deals with the stuff going on in his head. That's what Mercy Falls is. That's where he goes to when he's in his coma. You know, he's in a coma, and it's basically the family reckoning with the aftermath of this crash. I always imagine this album to have taken place, you know, the story of the album to have taken place in a cold, Swedish, snowy back road where the crash happened. That's what just, it comes to me. You know, really one of my favorite albums of all time, filled with just enough cheesy voice acting and melodrama to make my heart sing with joy. Tells a great story. It is full of memorable riffs and hooks. Great singing, great solos, great drumming. The vocalist Tommy is one of my favorite singers of all time, easily. It has some softer acoustic moments which really shine. Some of the highest spots on the album for sure are these slower, more acoustic parts. But yeah, it's just an absolutely fantastic album, one that I highly recommend anybody who enjoys progressive metal to go listen to. I think Seventh Wonder is an incredibly slept-on band, and this is another one of these albums that I find myself playing if I have a long drive to do in the winter. You know, I'll put that on, listen to the whole thing. I love it. Another album I find myself playing often is Hikari by Hosseinzadeh, Alaska. You know, this album just sounds very cold to me. I suppose it has something to do with the name of the band, Hosseinzadeh, Alaska, and probably also something to do with the cover art too, but you know. But yeah, the music and the production just screams coldness to me. It sounds like a cold and snow-covered night in Hokkaido. One of my favorite metalcore, deathcore albums of all time. When this came out, I was walking a lot to and from work, so I would often play this while braving the Canadian Siberia tier winters, while I was wearing less than adequate clothing because I thought it was cool. I love the extremely staccato rhythms and absolutely unhinged drumming. There's a lot of really cool breakdowns, a lot of pretty cool riffs too. I enjoy the singing quite a bit, even though I know it's not to everyone's cup of tea. The vocals are really good. He does a lot of layered screams, there's some cool features. I also love a lot of the sampling that gets done here, especially in Hansha. The Escapist, there's some really cool samples, these sort of like lo-fi samples that I think should be used a little bit more in metal. They're absolutely really good and I really enjoy them. But yeah, this is another album that I find myself coming back to all the time. Maybe it's because of the experience I had listening to it all the time when I was outside walking around, most, you know, for work essentially. Another one that I come back to quite often for sure. All right, 2 more albums for you guys here. The next one would be Laugh Tracks by Knocked Loose. This album reminds me of a cold Midwestern United States night. You know, this album is cold in the way that an ex-girlfriend is cold to you. I would listen to this all the time while walking around and taking the train to university back in the winter of 2017, 2018, and I still come back to it. You know, just absolutely unrelenting, crushing, chromatic, dissonant, filthy. Oh, it's just such a good album. I love Brian's vocals. I love the death growls they throw every once in a while. One of my favorite 7-string albums as well. Just really, really good. You know, nothing kept me warmer than practicing my spin kicks, karate, and spinning back fists while walking across campus. Really good. One of my favorites that I always come back to as well in the winter. And then the last one would be Dead Heart in a Dead World by Nevermore. This album, similar to others on this list, just sounds very cold to me. The production is very cold and crisp. Probably one of my favorite 7-string guitar tones of all time on here, easily. And if you want a video on that, let me know. I've been thinking up, you know, best 7-string albums of all time. So maybe if you like that, leave that in the comments. Maybe I'll do that. But anyways, you know, The River Dragon, The Heart Machine, Narcosynthesis, The Sound of Silence, these are all super good. Amazing tracks. I actually really like The Sound of Silence cover too. The first time I was listening to this album, I didn't actually realize it was a cover at all until probably halfway through when I started really paying attention to the lyrics. I was, hold on. This sounds very familiar. Probably one of the better covers in metal too. That's another video idea. Best metal covers. So if that's something you're interested in, please leave that down below as well. But yeah, this is another album that I come back to all the time. It sounds like a cold, you know, -20 day, but it's still sunny out. It's just cold and crisp, if that makes sense to you guys. So yeah, you know, that's all my favorite winter albums. A few honorable mentions here would be Ride the Lightning by Metallica. Get What You Give by The Ghost Inside. And Winter Heart's Guild by Sonata Arctica. I listen to that one quite a bit as well. But I didn't want to make this video too long and go in depth on those albums as well. But yeah, you know, looking back at these albums here, it's clear that the album art has a lot of influence on whether or not I like to listen to this in the winter. You know, a lot of these have blue covers or have some sort of ice on them or whatever, winter in the name. You know, I think that really influences the way you think about these albums. And of course it does, right? That's what album art is for, essentially. But yeah, you know, let me know your thoughts down below. What are your guys' favorite winter albums to listen to? Or just winter songs, you know, it doesn't have to be a full album. Leave them down below. I'm always interested to read your guys' comments. A lot of the viewers here are very smart guys and always give me cool recommendations. I've already found a lot of really good bands from some of you comments here, so I appreciate that a lot. You know, I'm really liking this sort of community that's growing around here that's just all about loving metal. I'm not really about trying to hate genres or dislike things or anything like that. You know, I just try to find good in all music here, and most of the time you can find it. But, you know, enough of my blabbering. Leave your stuff down below, and yeah, thanks for watching, you guys. Stay warm. Cheers.